series of 3. Okay. And the first one, if you joined us last time, we kind of did a deep dive with design. This one, we are going to learn more about sales. So Christy has changed roles from host to special guest alongside, maybe you know him, Rob Ellerman. Woo-hoo! Say what's up.
What's up? What's up? Thank you for having me, Brooke.
You're very welcome. Yeah. And my name's Brooke and I'm in the marketing team at Summit. So I'm just going to ask you guys some questions and you guys can talk through how it works over here. And if anyone has any questions along the way, please send those in. And we will do kind of a Q&A at the end.
Sounds good.
Okay. So the first question is, most realtors are used to selling resale. Is new construction any different from that? And how can they feel confident showing new construction to their buyers?
Yeah. Do you want me to start, Rob, or you want to answer that?
That's right down my alley. So I'll take this one if that's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the question is, first of all, correct, right? I think a lot of agents get used to selling resale. It becomes comfort zone. And then sometimes, it's interesting because I'll talk to a co-op agent and I'll say, well, I saw you just sold this $450,000 resale, but you didn't show any of our new. And they're always like, well, I haven't really sold a lot of new. It kind of scares me. And I think it's just the opposite, actually. There is a lot of differences in it. Specifically, most builders have their own contract, right? So that's the biggest difference. But what's cool about it is back when I used to sit on the new home subdivisions. I know. So I used to tell the co-op agents, like, hey, look, I will literally go over the contract with your buyer and you can just tell them that, like, we require that, right? If you don't really understand it, just say, hey, Rob requires that he goes over it because he knows the contract, better than anybody, blah, blah, blah. And then I just literally would go over the contract, paragraph by paragraph and sit down with the co-op and the buyer and make it super simple. So I think that it can actually be a lot easier than resale if co-op agents would just understand that, like, oh, I can use my on-site community manager to help me with that. So I think that's a big deal. And somehow we need to try to get that out to the masses, that we will help with that. It's just always hard to get things out to big masses of people and agents. As far as feeling confident, the other thing that we always tell people is, if you're showing resale and one day your buyer just goes on Zillow and clicks on a house and says, I want to see it, they're getting some random agent that they meet. And now they've got procuring cause. This other agent has showed it. Like, you got yourself in a real mess as a buyer's agent, right? But with new construction, if you know the subdivisions and the price point that they're looking in, they can literally just call our agents on site and say, hey, I'd like to register my buyer. They're a little bit crazy. They're out looking all over the place. I never know when they're going. So these are my buyers. I have a buyer's agency. Just register them and, we'll take care of them. So they come in and we'll be able to just pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, your people came in. So it's actually safer and is going to save you your commission a lot more than, sometimes on the resale side, you just get yourself in a real mess there if they show the house with somebody else.
Yeah. And, in this market that we're in right now, a lot of customers and these buyers are going and seeing houses on their own. They're either not telling their realtor that they're going, or the realtor is comfortable with just letting them go and look. They're either looking online or they're going out on their own. The first question that we always ask, as far as our community managers on site for Summit, is, are you represented? Because we want to know, do we need to include someone? So we'll know right away if they are represented, and then we'll make contact with whoever that agent is and say, hey, just want to let you know your buyers came in today. Here's what they're interested in. And then we want to make an appointment to invite the realtor out so that we can all be on the same page. But another great thing about selling new is, like Rob said, the community manager or the realtor that's on site will do all the paperwork for you. And I don't want you all to think that, I've sold resale before. I've been in new homes out on site or even showing buyers. and you feel like you want to like earn the commission, so to speak, but we're there to make it a very easy process for you and your buyer. So don't feel bad about letting that community manager just fill out the contract for you. They're not going to do anything behind your back. It's all collaboration.
Awesome. This makes me think too, Christy, like we have those construction one-on-one events.
Yeah.
Probably like 2 or 3 times a year. And that's also, I feel like, a really good way to like learn a little bit more about new construction if you're feeling like you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's not difficult. It's just different. And when we're comfortable, when I say we as the realtors, when we're comfortable selling resale, it's uncomfortable to go to new because you're just not familiar with it. But it really is a simple process. And like I said, we're here to make it easy for you and to teach you and help you. And well, we just love realtors and we need your help to sell our homes. So we'll do anything we can to help it be a very easy process.
And it just
Perfect.
opens up inventory, right? I mean, you know, you can you only have so many resales on the market, and you open up every new home construction neighborhood as far as, you know, not just inventory homes, but being able to build on lots and things. So it just opens up, you know, a million other options for your buyer.
Absolutely.
So true. Okay, Christy, so this one's probably more for you, but
Yeah.
Can you kind of give us a history of Summit? Like how long have we been around type of deal?
Yeah. So Summit Homes has been around for 20 years. We just celebrated our 20-year anniversary this year. So we were doing the math earlier. That's 2002.
Good job.
So yeah, for 20 years, we've been doing this. So since we've been in business in Kansas City, we started with Summit. And now we have another brand, Clover and Hive, and also opened up in Iowa. So Iowa also has Summit Homes in Clover and Hive.
And what is our price point?
I would say our average price point is around $475. So we have homes that start in the low 400s, and of course they can go up. I think the most expensive house we have is like $950, but that's like one out of however many we have right now, like 100. So we have a pretty wide price range. So something for everyone for the most part.
Perfect. And if someone were to find like a home site and want to build from scratch, how long would that take them?
Right now, we're averaging about 7 months, and that's from the time that you sign a contract, that buyer signs a contract, until the day that they can close. So it's actually very quick. I know for the past 2 years, COVID years, there was a lot of delays, trade shortages. We have now leveled out, and we do not have any delays as far as trades go. I would say the only delays we're seeing now is maybe with the city, but you're talking like a week or two, not months. So we are now back to pre-COVID times where we can build a house within 7 months.
And
Right.
Rob was saying that, you know, if you sell new, it opens you up to a lot more inventory. How much inventory do we have right now?
Hey, Brooke, can I jump in on the time frame too, just to give just a little sneak peek into the market. You know, we're down in Texas as well, as far as our resale team down there, and they were telling us that it was like 6 to 12 months just to get through permitting.
Oh,
So when you sign a contract, you might not even start the build for 12 months. So, so the 7-month period to be completely finished is like amazingly fast compared to the rest of the country. So it kind of gives you a little know what the other markets are doing there.
yeah. And you know what, you just sparked something else in my head too, Rob, is Summit has other stages of construction. So it's not just, you know, you can buy something that's finished or you can buy something from scratch. We have houses that are at foundation, framing, sheetrock. So all of those are for sale. So even if they're not in MLS yet, so say you find something, you know what plan your buyer wants, because maybe you've previewed some of the stuff that's out in the field that's already finished, but you don't want that lot or that location. So we can find something that's at foundation, and that shaves off like 2 to 3 months off of that 7-month time frame so that your buyer can get into that house even sooner. So if there's something out there that a buyer is interested in, as far as maybe they don't have 7 months, but they can't move as quickly as 30 to 45 days, we can find them something that's kind of in the middle, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months.
Perfect. Okay, so walk us through inventory. You were kind of alluding to the fact that we have homes at all stages, but like how much do you think is right now available?
We have quite a bit. I mean, when you're comparing, it's the same as the resale market. I mean, for 2 years, we didn't see one email that there was a new listing, that there was a price reduction, that, you know, all of a sudden my email box is full of new listings and just came onto the market, and, you know, whatever those emails are, just trying to get those listings out there. Same as happening at Summit is we had a lot of homes that we were building that were under construction that are now finished. And as we all know, the market has gone a little quiet compared to the past 2 years. So we have quite a bit of inventory. So there is some stuff to choose from, which is a benefit because there still isn't a ton of resale out there. So you definitely want to take a look at our new communities and see what we have. But I mean, in Lee Summit, we probably have, I'd say 50 different homes to pick from, maybe even 60. In Kansas, we have Overland Park and Spring Hill. We've got probably 25, 30 to pick from. In the Northland, we have another 20, 25 to pick from. So around 100 altogether in all different locations of houses that we can pick from, all different floor plans.
And like, let's say they, depending on what stage of construction they buy, what are some personalization options that Summit buyers would have?
Yeah, so I want to reiterate that I don't even know if we talked about this yet, but Summit Homes is not a custom builder. Okay, so if there's someone that wants to design their house on a napkin and bring it into Summit, we unfortunately aren't going to be able to build that for them. But we do have an array of floor plans to pick from. And what we do, as far as if you're going to build from scratch, so of course there's no customization on a house that's finished because, well, it's finished. You know, we can always add little things to it as far as like paint colors, if something wants to change, or if a light fixture needs to be switched out. That's a possibility. But as far as customization, that's such a loaded word. So we have many different floor plans, and then we offer, I guess you could say, soft customization, where we have options that they can pick from, whether it's bumping out a wall, whether it's adding a door in a place that there's not a door, whether you want a home gym option instead of a bedroom, if you want an office instead of a dining room. So we do offer that soft customization. And then once you make your selections, I kind of wish I was in the design studio so I could show it off. I know if you joined us the last time, which was about 2 weeks ago, Daryl was in the design studio. But we have a design studio in Kansas City and we have one in Iowa. But you get to go there and you get to make all your selections. So that's where the customization is coming from. It's coming from the flooring, the paint color, inside, outside, stone, tile. That's where the house comes to life with the customization.
Yeah, I know. And on the marketing team, we try to definitely steer away from the word customization and use personalization, because we don't want to give the wrong impression that we're going to build you a custom home, but we definitely want to be able to personalize your home.
But it's interesting when and the realtors that are on can relate for sure. A lot of times the buyers will come to them or to us directly and say, can I customize my home? Well, in their head, what are they thinking?
They're thinking tile and paint.
Exactly. And so, you know, so it's like I said, it's a loaded word. We don't really know what the buyer is thinking. What do they think customization is? Is it the tile, the carpet, and the paint, or is it that they want to actually customize the floor plan?
Right.
So
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, Rob, you want to take this one? Why does it appear new homes are in MLS for so long?
Oh, does it appear that they're in there for a really long time? No.
That is the question.
That is the question. Yeah. So so there's a million different reasons why this can happen. And I would always tell my buyers, like, don't even pay attention on a new home to days on the market, because there's so many things we can do. We can list at foundation stage, we can list at framing stage. We can list at foundation stage, and then there's delays that happen, or a bunch of builds come in, and then they need to hold off on that house to finish the builds. And so days on the market could really be high. I mean, we could even do, if we have a neighborhood that maybe we have a popular floor plan and we've sold out and we just need to start another one of those floor plan, we can list it before we even dig the hole. Right. So, I mean, the days on the market could really show a long period of time when, and in reality, it's a normal build time.
Right.
If that, so, and, when the market was good, really, really good, people would say that, like, oh, these resales stay on the market for, 2 days or whatever, and you've got one for 47 days. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're getting ready to frame it. So, so the MLS days on the market, just make sure you're telling your buyers, like, it's not a true statement of like, hey, this is a finished house that have been sitting there for 342 days. Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Christy, anything you want to add to that? When does Summit list our homes? Do we have kind of like a rule of thumb?
So yes and no. I mean, things change quite a bit, but we do try to just list them when the roof is put on. But we have been known to, like Rob said, if there's a popular floor plan and we're out and we want to get it in MLS quicker to make it available, we have listed homes at foundation before. So yeah, those days on market, honestly, don't even pay attention to it, or call us and we'll tell you what stage it's in, just to make you feel a little better. Cause it could be, last year it was taking us 9-10 months to finish a house. So we could show 10 months and then it might sit finished for 30 days, 15 or 30 days. So it does look like it's on the market for a long time, but that's not the case. It just was never done.
Right. Okay. So, can you kind of answer the question or walk through, like, are new homes perfect, and like, how do you set those expectations?
Yeah. Rob, you want me to talk about that one?
Yeah. Well, as long as your answer is no, they're not perfect.
Well, nothing's perfect.
Exactly.
Now, there's definitely more peace of mind with new construction if you're comparing it to resale, but no, they're also not perfect. And neither are we at Summit. Okay, so there's no way we can build anything that's absolutely perfect. So robots don't build the houses. We have humans that use these that build all of our houses. And so there's going to be mistakes that are going to be made along the way. But here's what we do is we have personal builders that are on site daily that walk the houses and try to find those mistakes. We also have managers of those builders who also walk the homes and read the plans and just make sure that everything is great. A third piece of this is we have inspections and city inspectors who are looking for, are things framed properly? Are they using the right materials? Codes are very strict and they change constantly. And we cannot go to the next step as far as finishing the home. So say that we are in framing, we cannot go to like put in the mechanicals like the AC and the electrical until we pass code, until we pass that inspection, that frame inspection. So there's a lot the house goes through, but even when it's completely finished, it's still not perfect. And honestly, that's another loaded word, just like customization. What might be perfect for me isn't going to be perfect for the person who's purchasing it. Okay. So everyone kind of has their own idea of what that is, but nothing is perfect. But here's what I can say is that you're buying with a company that backs their product. And if something needs to get taken care of, we will take care of it. Just has to communicate.
Would you ever suggest that the buyers have the home inspected then?
They have that opportunity for sure. What I like to do is, and my community managers are trained to talk through those options with buyers, explain to them that the home has gone through many inspections, but they definitely can hire an outside inspector to inspect the home. So Yeah, totally. And there's been things that have been found that we will take care of. Absolutely no problem. There's not going to be an inspection report or Rob, what's the other one called? I've been out of.
Yeah, that's what I was going to jump in. So there's not a resolution of unacceptable conditions like on a sale. So
Mhm.
basically after the inspection, and part of the problem, not problem, but one of the issues that I guess you have when you inspect it with an inspector is, it might not be completely finished either, right? So they're trying to get in there before because the last couple days of a new home really gets a lot done, right? I mean, the
True.
last week is just craziness getting things done. But if they inspect it and they do find something, instead of a resolution, you're gonna put that on a punch list with your personal builder to say, hey, my inspector found these 2 items or whatever, and then that gets put on a punch list and it goes into the regular process. So we do have resale agents that'll come in with an unacceptable conditions form, and we have to explain to them that nowhere in the builder contract does it say anything about an unacceptable conditions form. So you're just adding a form to the contract that isn't talked about anywhere. So we can't, we can't do that. But I don't think it's a bad idea if buyers want to get it inspected. Completely fine. I mean, again, like you said, Summit backs what they do, and if they see something that's wrong, then obviously they'll put it on the punch list and get it taken care of for you.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I've also heard with new construction, there can be some unexpected expenses. I think maybe there is some fear around that with buyers. So maybe you guys could talk through what is that? How does that work? Explain our processes.
Sure. So I hate that word unexpected because no one likes things that are unexpected. So if you have a buyer that you're bringing in that wants to build, because the unexpected expenses, so-called unexpected, really comes from when they build from scratch. Okay. If they're buying a finished home, you see what you're purchasing. So there's nothing that's going to come about. Okay. But if they're building, we are very transparent at Summit. And we want to make sure we talk through all of those things that could be with our buyers and our realtor partners. Okay. So I would say one of the things that comes up most of the time is subsurface conditions. So subsurface conditions are anything that might cost extra money to remove or dig out once you dig that hole on the ground. Okay, so we can't see what's below the dirt and the grass. So who knows when you start digging that foundation, there's going to be a big boulder. Well, you can't just dig that out with your hands. So you have to get equipment in. So anyway, that all costs money. Okay, what we do is as soon as we find that there is or isn't any subsurface conditions or a retaining wall that needs to go in, we communicate that right away. Now, we do have some insurance on most of our communities. So if you are looking at one of our communities that's exclusive, meaning we develop and we build exclusively, there's no other builder in that community, we do have a $5,000 subsurface cap, meaning if there's more than $5,000 worth of subsurface found and charged to us, we don't make any money on it. It's just we get invoice from the excavator. That buyer will never pay more than that $5,000. If it's zero, they don't pay a dime. If it's 1,000, they pay 1,000, never more than 5. If it's 10, they only pay 5. So that's kind of nice, but we explain all of that up front. And most of the community managers, well, I think I'm going to say all of them, I'm going to be confident and say all of them are allowing the buyer to put it into the contract up front. Just put in the $5,000 up front. And that way, once we know that there's been some subsurface conditions or there's not, we can either just use it and they don't have to come out of pocket for any of that money, or we just credit it back off the sales price if there's none.
That's nice.
And
Can they use that $5,000 in another way, like at the design studio or something?
They can use it for other upgrades or closing costs, or we can just reduce the sales price, however they want.
And I'll chip in here too. As realtors, that's a big deal for your buyers, because I've been in communities with my buyers that ended up with a $45,000 bill for subsurface conditions. So when you're paying $45,000 for nothing that you can see, you didn't finish a basement, you didn't add on, you didn't put a basketball court out in the backyard, like none of that. It's just under the ground. It's a tough deal for buyers to swallow, right? So it really is, that $5,000 cap is a big deal in those communities. And just to let you guys know how Summit can do that is because they have maybe 200 lots in that community. So if they get a $30,000 bill on one, that's going to be spread out by 200,000 lots, right, in development. So they can take those chances because most of it won't have the boulders. One might, two might, three might, whatever. So they're able to mitigate the risk by having the whole entire community. Whereas a builder that comes in and buys 3 lots or 5 lots, they don't, unfortunately, they don't have that, right? I mean, if they've got a $40,000 bill on one of 3 lots, they've got to pass that along.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would say for the realtors that are on, if you're showing your buyers new construction, which we're having this because we want you to, whether it be Summit or another builder, ask that question, because that's really going to be you supporting your buyer and understanding how much out-of-pocket costs are going to be charged to them. I mean, there are other builders that aren't as transparent. I used to work for one. They no longer build. So maybe that's why. But they used to have the conversation with the buyers and the realtors about the subsurface costs literally 2 weeks before closing. Well, at that point, the buyers, they're tapped. They're at the top of their budget, probably have gone over their budget because that's what you do. And that's a terrible time to have that conversation. So make sure you are asking those questions up front. That's why we're trained in the Summit communities to go ahead and talk about that prior to the contract or at the contract, that here's what you can expect.
That's nice. I'm pretty sure if I spent $45,000 removing a boulder, I would ask to keep it and be like, hey kids, here's your new playground.
Well, just so you know, they break up the boulder. They don't bring it all out in one.
Oh, that's disappointing.
She would just request for it to be like lifted out of the ground.
Just put it
Like
in my
a
backyard. I'm like, this is my rock. That's funny.
I love it.
Okay, so kind of goes hand in hand with some subsurface conditions and extra costs. What about once they close, warranty? How does that work? Is it different if you were to buy a spec, like 100% completed home, or if you're building from scratch? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, it is the same warranty whether you build from scratch or you buy a completed home. But Summit has 3 warranties that are included. Okay. No extra charge to a buyer. We have a 1-year warranty, a 2-year warranty, and a 10-year structural. So the 1 year pretty much covers everything that you can see on the outside of the walls. And then the 2-year covers inside the walls, like electrical, mechanical. And then we have the 10-year, it's called 210. So years 2 through 10, it's covered from a 210 warranty company, which is all structural related, roof structure, wall structure, and lower level structure, basement structure. And that is for all of our homes. And I'm going to let Rob chime in on this because we were just talking about this earlier. That's the biggest difference in resale versus new, is that peace of mind. You want to chime in, Rob?
Yeah, sure. So, when we talked earlier about all homes not being perfect, I've never sold a resale that's been perfect either. Right. So with the new, I mean, you do get, the 1-year warranty, the 2-year warranty, the 10-year warranty. On the resale side of it, if the foundation suddenly goes bad after 6 years or 5 years or whatever, and it's a resale, you don't have any warranty to fall back on that side of it. So that warranty again is a really big deal, having that structural peace of mind there. Not to mention, like, brand new, you're moving into someone who hasn't used your toilet yet, and there's not pet stains under the couch and different things like that. So there's just a whole bunch of benefits to the new over the resale, if that's the route you want to go and you like you like new construction. It's Christy and I were talking, it's really hard to build a house and then your next one go, I'm going to buy a resale. It's just tough. So, cause you've done the new,
Yeah.
I think,
Once you go new, it's really hard to go the other direction. Just because you do have peace of mind. I mean, I built a Summit home. I've been in it, I think 6 years now, and it still is pretty much easy peasy to live in. I mean, it's still new. Like there's no issues, and the pet stains are mine.
Yeah.
They're my pet.
Dang it, Neil, what are you doing?
So with the 1-year warranty, you're saying that's everything on the outside of the wall. So literally, like, your personal builder comes back, and even if you are the ones that like maybe scratched up the paint or whatever, they'll come back and you kind of get a refresher. Is that how that works?
Okay, so it kind of depends. Now, if there's a lot of wear and tear from kids running around, because we know kids don't care about what our house looks like. No, we're not going to be repairing all the paint that is just from living in the house.
Okay.
We're going to be repairing things that you can tell are from construction.
Like
Okay,
nail pops, stuff like
yes,
that.
Okay. Exactly. Now, if the nail pop and the mess from the kids happens to be in the same spot, then we're going to go ahead and take care of that for you.
Perfect.
and there are some times where the builder is just, they're kind, or the painters are really kind, and they're okay touching up some other stuff if it's not going to cost them any extra time. But the first year of a new house is probably the most crucial year. So I am going to say this because of those of you who have never bought new, or maybe just bought new and haven't moved into it yet, or are unfamiliar, but we live in Kansas City. We have 4 seasons. A house is made of wood. What happens to wood? Rob, what happens to wood?
It expands and contracts.
Yeah. Okay. So
You
our
guys,
house
I was
is
not going to say that. I was like, I don't know.
Okay, so houses are made of wood. So the homes are gonna do this with the 4 seasons. Okay, now they're made to flex, by the way. The wood that we use and most new construction companies use is treated knowing that it's going to shrink and have movement. Okay, but that's what causes nail pops. That's what causes cracks. So those things are all going to get taken care of in the first year. Here's what I want to say. A lot of buyers will call us after like 4 or 5 months and be like, we have a crack, you need to fix it. Well, that crack is probably going to get worse before it gets better, because it's from the house moving, and the movement happens in the first year. Okay, because it goes through all 4 seasons. So we will encourage them to just hold tight. We're going to fix that, at the 11-month warranty, but we're not going to fix it now because it's not done. It needs to have that movement.
That makes a lot of sense. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, hopefully everyone that is like listening is like totally ready to help sell Summit. So what are some things that we're currently offering? Do we have any incentives, or what's going on?
Well, for realtors, we do. We're still offering the increased commission. Okay, so all of our listings that we have right now are listed at 4%. So instead of just making your 3%, you're gonna make 4. And if you sell a second one within a small amount of time frame, what's that? A whole hand? A high five? You'll get a high five?
5, maybe
5%.
Right in the middle.
Okay, so if you sell 2 between now and the end of the year, you'll get 5. If you are lucky enough to sell 3, you're going to get 6. It's going to be a little bit tough to do that unless you guys are just go-getters. And we'll invite it. If you want to sell 3, we're going to pay you that commission. So we do have that incentive right now. As far as for the buyers, I think are out of the rate buy down money. I need to check. We might have one deal left that we can buy down the rate for 4.875. But we did just make some price corrections So a lot of our houses are priced really, really well right now. So we do need your all's help kind of moving through some of this inventory so we can start fresh next year.
And I think we have a build if they wanted to build from scratch.
Yes, we do. For build jobs, we are giving $10,000 your way. So if you wanted in design studio upgrades, you can use it for that. If you want it for rate buy down or rate lock, we can do that. And we also can use it towards closing costs or a mixture of the three. If you want to take that 10 grand and divide it up, we can do that too, but it's 10 grand your way.
Perfect. Okay, Rob, let's say one of your agents has a buyer, they're kind of interested in new construction, like maybe someone on the call does. What should they do first? What's their first step?
Well, so first and foremost, they need to obviously look at the communities and figure out kind of where they want to be. Are they Lee Summit, Kansas, north of the river, where they want to be? And what I would do first is call and register my people, because if you register the people, like you're gonna save yourself a very hairy situation at some point, because buyers come in all the time and say, I'm not represented. And then we go through the process, and then an agent pops up like, oh, I was working with them. Well, do you have a buyer's agency? Well, yeah, we wrote an offer 6 months ago and I do have an agency agreement or whatever. Well, that buyer, depending on how far they are down the road, like we let a lot of agents come in late in the game, but we can't let agents come in extremely late in the game, right? When we've started putting things on paper, had 4 build job meetings, it's hard to be able just to say, oh yeah, come in, we've kind of done all the work so far and you're going to just get paid. Yeah. But so register first and foremost. That is absolutely the key. And I don't think agents do that today. Very few people call us and say, hey, I've got some people, they may be looking at new. I would call the agents on anybody that you're working with in the price range that neighborhood's in. If they've even mentioned new construction or running around looking at open houses, call the agents on site and say, hey, here's who I'm working with. So protect yourself first up front. And then it goes to pre-approvals and, all that other fun stuff. They know all.
And then Christy, can you kind of just remind everybody what our hours are if they wanted to bring any buyers by, or maybe talk through like contacting if they were to call in or click on a form on our website like Ashley and setting up appointments and how that all works? Yeah,
we do have an online sales consultant that is, her phone number and her face is actually on our website. So summithomeskc.com. And by the way, she also is the online sales consultant for Iowa. So if we have any Iowa agents on right now, it's the same phone number. You can get a hold of her. So she can collect any information as far as guiding you in the right direction. And she doesn't really have hours. I think she does stop answering the phone around 10 o'clock at night, just so she can go to bed. But she doesn't miss very many phone calls. And then she does have email and text as well. But our communities, so we're in sales, we're in real estate. We're never closed. There's just times that we're not in the model. In other words, the community manager, that on-site agent may not be in the model. And the only days they're not there is Wednesday and Thursday, but they are always by appointment, or you can give them a call. So we seriously are always available. What's happening? You're smiling.
Well, because I think Rob's texting someone maybe.
No, I was checking to see the attendee list. I was going to see who I knew on.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so those are our hours as far as like when we actually are working, which is constantly all the time, 7 days a week. But the model homes are closed on Wednesday and Thursday. That does not mean that as a realtor, you can't go see them. It just means the community manager is not going to be there. But we are on showing time, which is now changing over. But you can make an appointment and go see the houses whenever it's convenient for you or your buyer.
Perfect. Okay, so kind of want to open it up now for Q&A. If anybody has any questions for Christy or Rob, send those in. Anything else that you guys wanted to touch base on?
think you covered a lot of it, but I would love to hear what others might want to ask. Now's the opportunity. You have our attention.
Oh, when do they get paid their commission?
The co-op?
Yes.
Okay, so typically you get paid when the house closes. We do have the option to get paid 50% upfront. So I would say if it's a spec and you're closing in 30 to 45 days, I don't know if you really want to go through the hassle of getting paid 50% upfront, but we'd be happy to do it if you want to. It's just a little extra paperwork. On a build, if you don't want to wait the 7 months to get paid and you want 50% upfront, we would be happy to do that. And what we would do is we would just pay it out. The 50% of your commission would be paid out when we dig the foundation.
Perfect. Well, that was really the only question that came in. So I think that we're good for today. I want to thank you both for going over the sales process with Summit. And then also invite everybody that's on to join us in 2 weeks. It'll be another Tuesday in 2 weeks, and we're going to go over operations and do another lunch and learn and invite some of our operations crew to kind of join in and explain some of those new home construction processes.
And it's on a Wednesday, right? It's on a Wednesday.
Oh, yep, because today is not Tuesday.
Yeah.
That is correct.
It's on Wednesday.
Fine.
And we are giving away a prize. So we will do that drawing, and then we will just email you. Everyone that's on this call will get an email of who the winner is. Okay.
Oh, wait, I just got one more question. Sorry,
Yeah.
real fast. Are there any other buyers closing costs being offered?
Okay. Yes. So if you use our preferred lender, Silverton, we're paying $3,000 in closing costs. So that's a great question. If the buyer needs more, we can always work something out or add it to the sales price and go ahead and buy down more closing costs if needed. But $3,000, as long as they close with Silverton, will get paid out. Great question.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks again. And we will send out an email to get you guys all registered for the next one.
Thank you guys for joining.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks, Rob.
Bye, Christy.